Hey folks, welcome back. This is the Aspiring Engineer. So today I'm going to attempt a project that I've been meaning to get to for a long time. Here I have 5 separate batteries. You may be wondering why I have 5 and then there's a 6th on the top. My drone here seems to have an abnormally short battery life. That is, I can get probably 5 to 7 minutes of flight time out of it before it just stops lifting off. What I've done is I've bought 5 new batteries to replace the old single battery, and I'm going to attempt to wire 2 of them in parallel at the same time so that I get the same charge for longer. The battery on top is an 800 milliamp hour standard battery that came with the drone, and then I've got each of these 5 are 1200 milliamp hours apiece. When I get my handy dandy soldering rig set up here, these are going to be spliced together and plug into the same plug that the drone uses. Looking at the pictures here, you can see that the old battery slides straight in. There is no problem getting it in there, but I did not account for the fact that these are just slightly too wide to get past the internal components in my drone. So you can see that they make it past the mouth of the hole, but they won't go in. As an aside, if you've been reading my blog, you know that I was making a miniature fan to aid in soldering. You can see below that I have a larger fan that I used for my old laptop to keep it from overheating. I don't really need this anymore. I'm going to see how it works today. As long as I've got my soldering kit out to solder on the male ends of these JST connectors for my drone, I might as well also solder on a real connector for the soldering fan that I made out of a computer fan and an airsoft battery. There we go. I only soldered it on the wrong way once. Just have to flip the polarity and voila, there we go. A working fan. This will come in handy because little soldering bits seem to kind of get in the laptop fan, and I think I'm going to go back to using the little one. Alright, perfect. I've got my heat shrink on. Don't look under it, please. This should connect 2 batteries together in parallel to my drone connector using 2 different connector types. So soldering is necessary here no matter which way you cut it. As good scientific practice dictates, we're going to cut straight to the experiment without doing any sort of metrics or pre-calculations at all. Alright, here's the moment of truth. Let's see if this thing even lights up when I plug it in. No matter which way you solder it, connectors are going to go the right way. As long as you do red to red and black to black. I don't know, I see lights. Could have used some extra tape, I guess. Okay, that's beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay, blue in the front. There we go. Alright. Maximum power. See if it even lifts off. Hey! Ooh, it's not quite stable. Is it ever? Well, fighting me here. It's flying about as badly as it does on a low battery. There it goes. Alright, I guess it's pretty heavy for a $10 drone. That's full throttle right there. It's not looking very good. Oh boy. Oh my. That is terrible. Alright, I guess I'm just gonna try it with 1. See if 1 battery is light enough. Yeah, 3 times the charge did sound exciting, but it's just too heavy. Oh yeah, that's super stable. Perfect. That's exactly what they teach us in engineering school. Oh, that's a little stabler. Well, that's still full power. Oh boy. Okay, that's not stable at all. actually. That definitely could have gone better, but I figured out why this puny little drone could not handle 2 batteries. So when we have just the regular manufacturer supplied battery with it, this thing weighs 4.9 ounces. When I tape these on, it weighs 6.3 ounces. That's more than a 28% increase in weight for this thing. So this light plastic drone gains more than a quarter in its own weight just by adding those 2 batteries, which are seemingly as small as makes no difference. However, they make a huge difference when you compare it to the tiny light body of this drone. And the fact that it says sharper image on the front suggests that it probably was not built to carry a load. You know what? Just for the sake of curiosity, let's do a thrust test. Do some super high-tech engineering. Okay, so we're gonna tie the scale to the drone weight. Let's go. Look at that. It's just about as much as this thing weighs. Yeah. We can see from this poorly designed experiment that the drone at least produces 4.9 ounces of thrust. However, because of Newton's third law, where every force has an equal and opposite reaction, there are several reactionary forces going on here. One is that the propeller acts on the air acts on the propeller. So the air is being pushed down to push the drone up, but as that air moves down, it's also hitting the plate on my scale, so it's causing a reactionary force there that's actually reducing my reading. So if I had designed this correctly, I'd be, pulling against something that was not affected by the thrust itself. Since it is, we can figure that it at least produces enough force to get the drone off the ground. So that's somewhere around 6 ounces of thrust, because that's what it weighed when we had all of the batteries attached. When a drone is low, the air that the drone is pushing down pushes on the ground, and there's sort of an air column that it pushes against. As it gets higher, the air disperses, and there's less of that effect keeping the drone up. So again, I would reckon that it was only somewhere around 6 ounces of force, because once it gets much higher than a few feet off the ground, the drone starts to wobble, it can't keep itself up. So I know that it certainly was not in excess of 6. Either way, even though the experiment technically failed, I feel like I still learned something, and I hope you did too. That's all I have. This is the Aspiring Engineer signing off. Don't forget to subscribe.